I'm welcoming viewers around the world, viewers all over the social media, viewers in Massachusetts. My name is Ronald Bernard, and I'm hosting the show called Integration. Integration is a show that comes from a partnership between Immigrants Development Alternatives, which is a nonprofit, and the acronym is IDA, and Multicultural Television Network, which is MCTV. This show has been bringing to you just to inform people, to inform especially newcomers who come to resettle in the US. Things you need to know in terms of information, education, to make wise decision in order to, be successful in your resettlement in Massachusetts. So we have had many guests coming and talk about different subjects. Today we have a special subject we're going to be talking about. And we have two guests with us. We have Jennine Tambio.
Hello, nice to be here.
Thank you and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
You're very welcome. And also we have with us Farra Bruny-Brown.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. So I would like the viewers to understand that Jennine and Farra, they are here to talk about the process and the procedure for college admission. So things you need to know. I know there are many people you would like to reach your academic dream while you are in the US, while you resettle. So let's say for now, in order to introduce the show, I do all my research and I am ready to, apply for college. So I'm going to turn to my guest, Jennine or Farra. What documentation should I need in order to gather when I am ready to apply for college or university?
So we have students who, Farra and I both work at Lesley University, and we work primarily with students who are returning to school after having some school in the past, and that probably represents many people that have recently come to the United States or come to Massachusetts. Many people that we meet have already been studying abroad somewhere. So the first step that a student who's ever had college outside of the United States would need would be that they would have their official transcript evaluated and translated. So there are a few organizations in Boston that will do that for you, and also nationally that can do that for students. Then those organizations produce a transcript that you would submit to an admissions office at the college that you're looking at. And that way you can usually have a little bit of a head start before you get going on your courses here in the United States. In addition to any transcripts, usually you have to do an application of some sort. And at Lesley, we try to make the application very streamlined so students can finish it quickly. Okay. And sometimes a personal statement to express to the admissions office why you're interested in studying.
And as you mentioned about the personal statement, how critical is that for the process? Because I'm looking at myself coming from Haiti, and I believe that not many people in the process back in their country, they had to do a personal statement. So how critical it is in the process? What do you think, Farra?
Well, it is a tool that we use in order for us to understand who the student is and what their educational journey hopes are. So I know that writing about yourself sometimes for students can be really difficult, and it is sometimes the stumbling block for students. It prevents them. But as Jennine mentioned about streamlining our application, we also try to make sure that we eliminate some of those barriers. So the personal statement, although we consider it critical, as in we get to know you better, it gives you an opportunity to share what your hopes and dreams are for completing a degree, we also understand that sometimes writing can be difficult for students. So for our program specifically, we do offer an opportunity to sit down with us and talk through some of those issues that you would put in the personal statement. So it's about telling us who you are, what you hope to study, and how do you think Lesley is going to benefit you in that way? And maybe even also including like your future plans for after graduation. So we have done many times where we've reviewed personal statements. We've helped students edit them and really just help them talk through what they can write about. But we want to make it so that it's not scary for them, and it shouldn't be something that's going to impede them from applying for a program.
Okay.
And I just want to add that I think sometimes students are nervous about applying to go to a school because maybe they feel that their past experiences weren't perfect. But Farra and I would both say that we've seen all kinds of students and we've seen people with all kinds of backgrounds go on to great success. So if a person was ever concerned that a school might not think that their application was strong enough or they had too many hiccups on the transcript, one reason that the personal statement is so important is because you can address those concerns and talk about how perhaps those were a few years ago and now you're at a different place in your life and ready to be fully dedicated to your studies, or explain that a challenging life situation came up for you and that's what happened and now things have settled down and you're ready to persist. So it's a good place to sell yourself as well.
Okay. As in when you were, elaborate about the process, you mentioned about transcripts. So for the transcript, let's say I have my, high school diploma, as I'm originally from Haiti. Let's say I have my high school diploma from Haiti and I come here. So would the high school diploma just need to be evaluated by the, entities that doing that in the U.S.? I don't need to do anything else? Because what I see with my work in the community, sometimes people, they think that their high school diploma, they need to do the GED or the high set here. So is it like, would their high school diploma need just to be evaluated and I can start with the process, or would it be beneficial someone, I don't know, go for GED or go for high set?
I think typically when students have already earned, they've graduated from a high school program, we just would like to get it evaluated so that we make sure that they're properly prepared to take the next step. I don't think it's necessarily needed that they have to take the high set or GED again. They've already earned that degree, and that's one of those things that we try to honor as well. Like your educational experience, we want to make sure that we're able to capture that and take it and honor it as much as possible. So I would have it translated. That's the first step. We just go through the same process and just have it translated and evaluated so that we can start the next step.
Okay. So all the viewers, you are listening to Integration. And Integration, it's a show that provides information and education for people who are especially resettled in the U.S. in order to achieve your goal, your dream while you're in the U.S. Today we have with us Jennine, Tambio, and Farra Bruny-Brown. We are talking about college admissions, so the process, what you need to know about the process in order to, reach your academic goal while you're in the U.S. So, Jennine and Farra, many times what I see people when they go about college or university here, they're talking a lot about, financial aid. And we know about like FAFSA and Pell Grants. So would you like to, either make the distinction for people to understand that, and if you know more about the process, you can, let people know.
Sure. So we encourage everyone who is coming to Lesley to apply for financial aid. If you are a resident or citizen of the United States, you can apply for financial aid through the federal government, and you use the FAFSA, FAFSA.ed.gov. That's the website where you can access it, and it's a free application for financial aid through the federal government. So that's one thing to be cautious about, is that if you're ever trying to fill out this application and they're charging you a fee to do it, then you're probably on the wrong website. Okay. But that's the first step. You do your FAFSA, and it opens as early as October 1st for the next year that you want to go, and it never really closes. But the best window in Massachusetts to apply is October 1st to May 1st. You do this It's a fairly brief application, but it is complicated, so there are a lot of different ways that you can get help. A lot of communities run a FAFSA help nights, or different organizations can help you as well. You put in your information in there, and it will let you know if you're eligible for grants or loans. So the main grant that students are receiving, and this depends on your income level, is the Pell Grant, P-E-L-L. So the Pell Grant would be a roughly $3,000 per semester that you'd receive to pay for school, and then you don't have to pay that back. And then in the state of Massachusetts, if you're Pell eligible, you're usually also eligible for the Mass State Grant, which is more money that you don't have to pay back. And once those grants are given out, even if you're not eligible for that kind of money that you don't have to pay back, because if your income is a little bit too high, you'll be qualified usually for the subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So the government will give you a certain amount of loans depending on how many credits you're bringing into college. And some of the loans are subsidized, so the interest is paid for while you're a student, and some of them are accruing interest daily. So those are the two types of aid that you can get. And of course, there's also scholarships, private scholarships.
And I just want to add, I see on a regular basis a lot of my students who either come from another country or English is not their first language. They're very fearful of what a student loan means, because my parents are from another country, and we were always taught you never borrow money that you don't have, that you're just supposed to work for the things that you need. So I spent a lot of time kind of counseling students about understanding what it means to be a smart borrower. So a student loan is an investment in your future. And so I try to talk to them and help them see how to borrow the money smartly. So just borrow what you actually need so that you can keep up with your studies and get back into the professional realm. So it's a conversation that's ongoing. We don't just do this at the beginning of our relationship with students. A lot of it in the beginning is trying to help them understand terminology and what is a student loan versus a Pell Grant or a scholarship. But there's a lot along the way. So we don't just say, okay, we got you in, you got this money. We want to make sure that students are able to afford the program and to finish their educational journey all the way through to the end. So becoming a smart borrower is one of those things that we have made a commitment to. So our department really does a good job at working with our financial aid department or our financial planners to help students see what they could be eligible for. And of course, free money is always first on the top of our list. Yes.
So in the process to get admitted, for instance, if I take Lesley University, where you're working, so I need to have all the documentation and the financial aid or the money before I can start classes? Is it like that the process goes?
We do encourage students to have completed their financial aid and see how they will be financing school before they actually start taking classes. We don't want students to incur more student debt, and we're actually always trying to make sure we can minimize their overall student debt by making sure our courses are affordable, and we're helping students find the most affordable, efficient pathway to graduation. So it is wise to have your financial aid all understood ahead of time, but there's so much to know, and you don't have to do it alone. So Farra and I are both academic advisors at Lesley, and we work with a great team of other advisors, and I know every college has advisors as well. And our role is really to be that support for students and to give you the information you need in the bite-sized pieces that you need it, so that we can help you with the first step, we reconnect, we help you with the next step, so that you aren't feeling that you have to go out there and figure it all out by yourself.
Okay. If we go back to the first part we talked about, I forgot to mention, in the process, do you need a resume from the applicants, or we don't need a resume in the package?
So for our specific program, which is falls under the umbrella of Lesley Center for Adult Learners, we do not require a resume. There are times when we meet with students, and we do like to take a look at resumes sometimes because it helps us understand the professional experience that they've already had. Again, as part of honoring the education and professional experiences, we want to make sure that we're not going to have students who have been working in a field for 20 years take an introductory class if there's a way for us to figure out how they can get credits for life experience. So there's some intricacies with that, but resume is not required for the application process. It is, however, encouraged along the way so that we can help the student make great decisions about class choices, but also internship placements. So if they come to us and they don't even have a resume, we do work with our career services office, and they help students kind of create their first resumes if they don't have one. Again, we've done a lot of editing with resumes and things like that as well. So they do get the help that they need once the resume is something that we feel is needed for them to prepare themselves for the next professional aspirations.
Okay. Let's say in the process, I submitted everything. When I say everything, all the paperwork you require. For instance, I don't have reference someone in the United States, for instance, because let's say I come from Haiti and I just started, and the only reference that I have is back in Haiti. So could that hinder the process, or?
Not at all. So at Lesley, as Farra mentioned, we have a number of pathways for students to complete their degree. So some students are coming straight out of high school, and that's the kind of student that might have letters of recommendation from their teachers. Mm-hmm. But we have other pathways for students returning to school or transferring from community colleges, or all kinds of different pathways. And if those students don't have letters of reference, we still welcome them to come in, because we either meet with them and get to know them, or we have the personal statement, we see their transcript. Those are all valuable ways that we can make sure that the person coming in will be successful. I do really encourage our students who are, in the process already as students at Lesley, though, to be seeking out those letters of recommendation, because for graduate school and future goals, that's important.
Okay, you mentioned for graduate school, so that would be important. So when we're talking about admission for a program, we're talking about either, associate degree and bachelor degree. Mm-hmm. This is what we're mainly talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so at Lesley, we have both, right?
Yes.
Associate degree and...
We have bachelor's.
Bachelor's.
Mm-hmm. But we work with community college partnerships. Okay. So we work with students who are primarily taking classes already at the community colleges across the state. Okay. So we help them before they're even ready to transfer for a bachelor's degree. But Lesley awards a bachelor's degree, and we have graduate programs. So a lot of our students who graduate with us actually go on to attend our graduate schools.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So all the viewers, it's integration show. And we have two experts with us for admission process. So they've been talking about, documentation you need when you're thinking of applying for college. And also they're talking about financial aid and give you some useful information that can help you when you decide to go for your college degree. So we are at the end of the show. And I am very thankful to have Jennine, Tambio, and Farra Bruny-Brown with us. They are all from Lesley University. Jennine is Director of Community College Partnerships, and you are the Assistant Director.
Correct. We are a great team.
I believe so.
We are.
Yeah, I could see that. So let's say... I usually do that with people, like when I invite guests to come. It's just, I would like them to give advice to the audience, depending on the subject we're talking. Like we're talking about admissions. So let's start with Jennine. What is your advice for...
Well, thank you for letting me go ahead of Farra.
For people who would like to go to college and they are a newcomer in the U.S., they don't know the system. So what is the advice from your perspective?
Well, I think I will just say that from my experience, I've had the opportunity to see so many people be so successful. And also, so my advice would be to really believe in yourself and know that this is possible for you. And my other advice would be that to really set small, achievable goals. So rather than seeing going to college as this huge undertaking and you have to make a giant leap from step A to step I'm in college, know that there's little things that you can do along the way to get there, and that there are people like Farra and I who are dedicated to helping you get there. So seek out the resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jennine.
Yes.
And Farra, what about you?
Well, I think that some of the advice is always to, as Jennine mentioned, is really to know that you can do it. There are people who will help you. And it's important to get as much information as possible. So not just from your neighbor or your church member, but also just going and visiting schools and getting to talk to people who are on campus. Their jobs are really there to help support you. I know our commitment to students is a really important part and aspect of why we do the work that we do. So my advice would be to not let fear or misunderstanding or lack of communication be one of the things that hinder you. There's lots to understand about the college process. And it's not always easy. And even for some of us who were born here and have been here and understand systems, we understand that navigating can be difficult. So that means seek out your resources, use your resources, talk to people, get as much information as possible. But at the end of the day, it's take the leap. Take the next step, do the next step, and celebrate each step that you take too, even if it's just making one phone call or getting the niece or nephew to come sit down and, research a school with you. Those steps are important as well.
Okay. Thank you, Farra.
Yeah.
And all the viewers, it's Integration, and Integration Show, it's a partnership between Immigrants Development Alternatives, IDA, which is a nonprofit that's helping people resettling in the U.S. And the partnership is with Multicultural Television Network, that give its platform for people here to empower leaders, empower people in the community to live a better life and to make better decisions. So we are at the end of the show, and I am thankful and thank you, Jennine and Farra, for being part of the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, it was a pleasure being here.
Okay, thank you. And all the viewers, I will see you for the next show. Have a good day.